Hello everyone, I'm the Nerdy Fool and welcome to a new game on the channel. This is Pathfinder Kingmaker. So this episode 0 is just going to be character creation, but also talking a bit about me and my experiences with tabletop gaming, Pathfinder, and this game, Pathfinder Kingmaker. So first, just to get it out there, I have played a bit of this, but it was several years ago, and I made it, I think, a little bit past Act 1. Not very far. But that means the opening sections aren't going to be new, but it's been a few years, and so I won't claim that I'll remember everything, but everything past that will then be blind, which should be fun for both of us. As for myself and tabletop gaming, I've been playing tabletop gaming like D&D and Pathfinder for probably about 20 years now. So it's been a pretty big part of my life. I started out with D&D 3.5 way back in the day, and then had groups that moved on to 4th edition when that came out. We tried Pathfinder 1st edition, which this game is based on, and then have moved on to 5th edition. I've tried Pathfinder 2nd edition, then a bunch of games outside the D&D and Pathfinder ecosystem, and I've had a blast with all of them. So yeah, tabletop gaming is great, and computer gaming that allows you to get that feel of a tabletop game without all the extra complexity of getting a GM and getting the team together, and like hanging out with a group is fine. It's fun. But sometimes you just want to jump into a story, and that's what games like this are for. So I'm excited for that. But I guess with that out of the way, I'm going to jump into the new game. Hopefully I didn't forget to mention anything, but if so, I'll cover it later at some point, I'm sure. So we're obviously just going to do the main story. Explore the Stolen Lands, a wild territory that has been contested for centuries. Hundreds of kingdoms have risen and fallen in these lands, and now it is time for you to make your mark by building your own kingdom. To succeed in this, you'll need to survive the harsh wilderness and the menace of rival nations, as well as perils from within your own court. So we're going to be playing on normal difficulty. I'm going to have, I think, a couple of mods installed, like BuffBot, to just help with buffing, because the Pathfinder games by Owlcat were designed with buffing before fights, or at least buffing is a major aspect of Pathfinder, and particularly this version of it. So being able to buff at the start of a fight automatically without having to manually cast each spell myself is going to be useful in the long run. I'm toying between a few other mod ideas. We'll see how things shake out. But the reason I'm going for normal and not something more challenging, I could play on a more hard difficulty. I am confident in my abilities to build power gaming characters that are min-maxed. I just don't enjoy min-maxing characters. I'd rather build characters that aren't necessarily bad, but just are built more for flavor and story. So because I'm not going to be dipping into a level or two of specific classes to just optimize a build, but instead build for flavor, I'm intentionally going with a lower difficulty, because these higher difficulties kind of require those min-max perfect builds, particularly when you get up to unfair. You can probably play challenging and maybe hard with less optimized builds if you play more optimally. I just don't want to go through that headache. So yeah, we're just going to play on normal. And then character creation. Obviously, I'm going to create my own character, but I'm not going to force you all to sit through as I go through all the steps and think about it. So I'll bring you back once I've got a character and we can talk about it then. See you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. This is going to be our character. So I guess the major things to point out, I've chosen Sylvan Sorcerer. I'm wanting to play something that's more nature focused, because that's sort of the theme of the game, at least from what I saw with playing through Act 1. I don't know if we ever get to be more developed of a city, kingdom, I suppose, to the point where we won't be in a more rural, nature-focused area. But at least for now, it feels like that's going to be thematically good. Chosen an Azamar just to match the portrait, and specifically an Azada-blooded. So we're playing as a chaotic good. I'm sort of curious about how that's going to play out, because to my understanding of this game, unlike Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous and Rogue Trader, that were also made by Owlcat, that had sort of these branching stories, Wrath of the Righteous has its mythic paths, versus Rogue Trader has its dogmatic, iconoclast, or heretical that branches the story. From what I've read online, the closest thing to a branching story this has is that some things about your kingdom are decided by your alignment. And I'm curious what a chaotic good kingdom looks like, because in general, most leaders, even if they themselves wouldn't necessarily be considered lawful, they hope for a lawful society so that everyone else has to follow their rules, even if they themselves are not lawful people. So I'm curious what a chaotic society is going to look like. Are we all going to be bandits? Or what? Yeah. Curious about that. What else did I choose? I guess we can go through some of these options. So I got a animal companion for being a Sylvan sorcerer. I went with a wolf because it matches the portrait. There are better options, but again, I'm not always going to choose the best option. And wolves still do get a trip on a bite, which is really powerful. So it's not like it's a bad setup. Ability score wise, we've got really good charisma and pretty decent dex. Con is okay, int is not great, and wisdom and strength are lacking. Persuasion and use magic device are my primary 2 skills, but I also put a point into lore nature. It's not going to be great because my intelligence isn't great, but I didn't really have anything better. I could have gone for mobility if I want to eventually be able to ride my animal companion, but I'm not confident that that's going to be a smart choice. We do have a lacking will because of our wisdom being so low, but the class gets its class bonus in will. So I'm hoping that can make up for maybe having a bad wisdom, but I guess we'll see. Spell-wise, I went with, or I guess we're on feats. I went with spell focus and greater spell focus in conjuration. So that'll help with spells like grease. Mage armor doesn't have a DC, so it's not affected, but grease will be useful. And then our name is Melandra, playing chaotic good as stated. I don't know how much birth date matters in the game, so I just arbitrarily sort of chose the summer solstice as a nice, round, powerful time.
Ah, a test of my abilities.
I think that's all the major aspects of character creation. So this is going to be a short episode. It's more of sort of an intro to what I'm planning. And then episode 1, which is going to be the next episode, is going to be me actually jumping into the game where we go through sort of the tutorial area. So for now, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.